as a roar. He does he do it roar. Here comes the avalanche. Here comes the avalanche again, my friend.
Welcome to Revolutionary Thinking with me, your host, Ariel the Avalanche. This is where we get your stereotypes, put them on the examination table, get out a sledgehammer, and smash them into smithereens, and throw those smithereens into the incinerator. On the last episode, we came down on hustle porn. And on this episode, I am going to come down on giant content creators. And let me just preface by saying I don't dislike all giant content creators. I just look at a few giant content creators and the giant content creator culture on YouTube or big social media platforms in general, and I see a lot that there's lacking and a lot more that could be done. And I want to talk about the ethics and morals of the giant content creator space as well. So, like I said before in my clout culture and influencer culture video, that I grew up in Los Angeles, where it was the epicenter of Hollywood, the epicenter of media and arts and everything like that, and I couldn't stand celebrity culture. And what I'm seeing is in the giant content creator space is a bit of that narcissistic celebrity culture that I did not like. And this is the part that really annoys me the most about some of these giant content creators. If they have reached a point where they're YouTube famous and they're making thousands of dollars out of their views and their ad deals and what have you, let me just say that fame and fortune doesn't give you permission to be a prick. I don't care how much money someone has or how much notoriety someone has. Being a decent human being should actually mean something in the world. So just because you have a lot of money and fame and notoriety shouldn't mean that you should push people off or not answer to your obligations. And it also shouldn't give you permission to engage in criminal activity like an outright douchebag. The thing is that when you look at people like Justin Bieber, who I think got famous when he put his videos on YouTube, then all of a sudden he does stupid things like egg a neighbor's house and drive with a DUI. And just imagine if you did something like that. If you did something like that, probably a lot of your friends and family wouldn't want to relate with you as much anymore, and it would probably go on some type of permanent record you'd have. You'd most likely get fired and have tons of trouble explaining something like that to the next jobs that you want to get or you want to go to. But all of a sudden, a giant content creator does it, or somebody with a lot of fame and fortune, and it just becomes a slap on the wrist or water off a duck's back. If somebody with a lot of fame and fortune and followers and subscribers does something that normally would land a regular person in a jail cell or a mental hospital, they get away with it by going on a talk show or going on Comedy Central and looking back on it and actually laughing and thinking it's kind of funny, and then it doesn't stick with them and it doesn't hurt them months and sometimes even years into the future, which I just think is insane. People with that kind of clout and fame and fortune should be held to a higher standard, but because of all of that, they're held to a lower standard. And that's just what disgusts me. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this dumb snot-nosed, sniveling little Instagram model whose name was Christian Burns, who was harassing this security guard, Joseph Hernandez, at the VidCon. So what happened was that Christian Burns was there, and so was that security guard, Joseph Hernandez, and Christian was like, I'm more famous than you. You should just let me in right now. You should listen to me. I have more fame than you. And then Joseph said, well, that doesn't make you any more important than I am. And then Christian goes on a complete non sequitur and tells him, and I'm quoting Christian, and I hope my channel doesn't get in trouble for this. This is a quote from Christian. You're blue collar as fuck. You should go kill yourself. What kind of stupid, entitled, ignorant brat who just puts fancy little photos on Instagram have the right to tell somebody who's probably twice his age, or either, at least 10 years older than him, that this guy is blue collar as fuck and he should go kill himself? So now the irony here is that Christian got in a lot of trouble for that. And what ended up happening is that Joseph Hernandez was actually the one who ended up going viral. And I respect these kind of giant content creators. There were a lot of giant content creators in that VidCon who actually came up to Joseph Hernandez and told him, apologized on behalf of other famous people and other content creators, and actually gave Joseph Hernandez some respect and love and some exposure for the trouble that he had to go through. And as for Christian for acting like such a complete, imbecile, his Instagram account actually got deleted, and Joseph actually became more famous than he did. Now, I'm hoping that Christian is young and it teaches him a lesson that no matter how many followers or, how sexy you look on Instagram or how cute you look, that doesn't give you permission to be a little prick, And it's kind of ironic with a name like Christian, he would do things that are very, very not Christ-like. I'm pretty sure Jesus wouldn't tell somebody back in the day that they're blue collar as fuck and they should go kill themselves. But that's just my opinion. Since I'm speaking about big content creators, the giant ones, the question is, how do people get up there? And it's been really, really complicated because there are thousands of hours of video uploaded onto YouTube every single hour. In the exact same minute, tons and tons of people are uploading content up there. So how do you separate the wheat from the chaff? And that's, I guess, how people become big. And I see it in either four ways. Someone is riding on someone else's clout tails, or they get on a wave of trending topics, and sometimes it's just a virality of a certain video in the moment, or they just go out and copy and paste the links of their video like crazy into different communities, different places, etc. And most likely it's a combination of the four. Now, I guess you could say I hit my 1,000 mark and made it up to 2,000 watch hours in a year because I got interested in the Yang campaign. I was doing tons of videos before. Hardly any of them were getting any traction until I started covering Andrew Yang. So, Andrew Yang, thank you so much for running. I remember there was a guy named Technically who I appeared on his live stream on Twitch, and I shouted out my YouTube channel, and I got about 20 subscribers from there. But there's another person. He was formerly known as Humanity First, but now his name is Humanity Sean on YouTube. He had one video of Andrew Yang on Fox News that garnered 1 million+ views. And when he was covering Yang, he was getting a lot of views, subscribers, likes, and everything like that. And he shouted out my channel on a community post, and that community post gave me the leverage. It was about 300 to 350 subscribers I gained from that community post. Then I had about 800 something subscribers, and I just made really good quality content to finally hit my 1,000 subscribers that I needed. Now there is a big YouTuber, one of those giant content creators, I have a very roller coaster relationship with, and his name is Coffeezilla. He started doing something. He's not doing any of that anymore. It was inviting people on the show by Discord. And he would just randomly choose people on the show to talk to him and his co-star Amish. So when I went on the Discord, I put my moniker as Yang Gang, and that garnered a lot of attention. And what Coffeezilla does is he's a YouTuber that talks about all the fake gurus and all the people trying to steal and scam money from people. So while I was on his thing as Yang Gang, what happened was I talked about how a freedom dividend or universal basic income can be used as a hedge to combat fake gurus and scammers and con artists going after very, very desperate, insecure people financially. And we had that talk, but it was funny. A lot of audience in his comments were against me just right off the bat. They were rude, they were mean, they were, I don't know, they were being jerks. And I didn't appreciate that for the first time's audience being jerks. But they're probably used to people being scammers, so they honestly thought that maybe the UBI was just one big scam because they're just used to maybe people pitching an idea and that idea constantly being a scam. Now, little by little, I don't know if just the quality of audience got better or some of them just saw that I was genuine and I wasn't really there to scam them. The quality of people got better. They were friendlier, they were nicer, they were open with talking to me. And I did a poem that they all really liked on there about schools and the job market, and I was promised a dedicated clip. And it's funny, when he did make a dedicated clip of it, it wasn't on his Drip podcast. It was actually on his main channel. But the problem was with the clip that he created, it could have been taken out of context and as punching down. And the thing is that a lot of people misinterpreted it as that. And the thing is that I never even got credited for making that poem, and that's the part that really annoyed me because I thought that this Humanity Sean guy had about like 19,000 followers, and when he put me in a community post, I got about 300 subscribers, and that really helped me a lot. But when he put up my clip of my stuff, he didn't even say who I was or what I was doing there, and that kind of disappointed me. So I created another YouTube video using a very funny made thumbnail of his face, and he really didn't appreciate that. So when I got on to talk to him about how I thought my stuff was taken out of context, he was just muting me at random times and playing around and sometimes not even letting me explain myself. And then I said, just put my name in the title. And he did not do that, actually. He put my name in one of the top pinned comments, but okay, whatever. So that's what happened. And it's funny how it all actually culminated because I actually was a victim of one of these scams online. You can look at that into an interview that I did called Scam Rehab about the scam that I was a part of online. But unfortunately, in that interview, I felt as if I really wasn't getting a lot of respect. Like, a lot of times I was interrupted and I didn't really appreciate all of the interruptions when it's like, look, when you have somebody who defects from enemy territory and he trusts you and he wants to talk to you about what's going on in that enemy territory, you show them the kind of like respect that they deserve. But the thing was is that I didn't feel like I get it. Now the funny thing was, it was actually the opposite of what happened when I came on the first time. When I came on the first time, there was a lot of me being made fun of, being told that I wasn't cool or I wasn't interesting, etc., etc. But the last time I came on, and that whole thing was clipped with my name in the stuff, what actually ended up happening was I got a lot of comments that were in support of me. I'd have to say that 80% of the comments were in support of me, 10% were in support of, them, and the other 10% were just kind of neutral. But the funny thing is that the whole reason I wanted to ally with Coffeezilla isn't just because I want attention and I want clout and they call it a word that you're simping. I was thinking that the Yang-centered people, and he did wear a Yang shirt in one of his videos, and the anti-scammers could come together to create a coalition to just help the downtrodden and stuff like that. But it didn't really work out as I had hoped. And I was really expecting to create not this thing where I'm just looking for attention and I just wanna draw attention to myself, but a really good alliance between the people who go after cheaters, scammers, and bullshitters and the people who just want people not to suffer. That's the kind of thing, but it became a cluster fuck instead. And it's in an interesting way. And then when they saw me responding to the comments that were in support of me, then they said that, oh, I'm complaining and that I have a problem and that, why am I doing this? My name is in the title. I always complain about everything and they've been so nice to me to give me so much exposure. I shouldn't be complaining. But that's bullshit, You should just be a decent human being to people just because it's the right thing to do. You should hear people out, and you should be giving people who have gone through hard times or a scam or who were victims just because it's the right thing to do. It's not because of clout or view count or subscribers. It's just about being a decent human being. And that's why I want to come down on all the bullshit that I see out there. And that's why I decided to create this thing. And it's funny because they did talk about me and Scaramucci and how when Scaramucci promised that he'd come and talk to me and that I had something to tell him about, and how disappointed I was when Scaramucci doesn't follow through on his promises. And they were saying, oh, you can't complain about stuff like that. Well, you know what I say? I say, fuck that. Fuck this mindset of these people have all this money and all this clout and they're so busy. It's one thing to be busy and to not have time for people and to say that, hey, I'm just busy and I don't have time to get to you. I can understand that and I can appreciate that, and that's fine. What I don't like when it comes to the big people and the little people and the people who have the bully pulpit, and it's never okay to punch down, to talk about someone who doesn't have as much exposure as you do, to not talk about them without them being there. You know, the whole thing about that is that when you make a promise to someone and when you told someone that you're going to do something and you don't do it, it's about integrity. It's not about view count. It's not about subscribers. It's not about like I'm giant and I'm more famous than you. It's just about integrity. And do what you said you were going to do at the time you said you were going to do it. And we see so many people in positions of power and fame and fortune and what have you, and people in positions who they're trying to climb up the ladder, always being cheated and lied to and double-crossed and bullshitted by the people on the top. And that dynamic is disgusting and it's not okay. So it's ironic that Coffeezilla is nipping on the heels, and I commend him for this, and I like him for this, of the people who do bullshit, of the people who do lie, of the people who take advantage of people, and more people are supposed to do that. We're supposed to be going after these scumbags and liars and these hypocrites, but at the same time, if you're a person who does that, don't think it's okay to fall into this clout culture. And if someone's smaller than you, to just make assumptions about them and to jump to conclusions about them and not give them a chance to tell their story, or, you know, let them tell their story or be good to them, but at the same time, treat them like they're less than. I become big. I have millions of dollars, millions of views, a big house, a mansion, or something like that. I'm not going to treat a person who was a victim before or who went through some bullshit before as someone who is less than, because I know what it feels like to be in their shoes. And when you don't do that, and it's funny because the scam rehab video that they made after my video also got the same kind of comments, that they were interrupting the person or they were being kind of rude here and there. And when you kind of do that, it disencourages people who have a voice and who have a story to come and tell their story for, you know, the way they think that if they're going to be disrespected or not. That's all that I'm saying. And the thing is that if I become a giant content creator and I find the diamonds in the rough, like the people in the rough places who have potential and who have intelligence, I'm going to do all that I can to lift those people up and to help those people instead of view them as competition and be douchebags to them. Or if I have the power to help, and if I don't help the people who are suffering or who are going through trauma, and I say, well, I went through it too, so that means that I like that these people are going through the trauma, and let them go through a little more trauma before they get, you know, up there or get, you know, the kind of things in the future that they want. I'm just never going to be that person if I become big, you know? And I think that's what's the most important. Unfortunately, in some cases, though, the most important things are the ones that the incentives really go against. Like creating an audience that you have as a giant content creator, making an audience of critical thinkers instead of just zombies that follow everything you say without ever giving it a second thought. So the incentives move in the zombie direction, but I challenge giant content creators to move in the creating critical thinkers direction. Also, you know, pay it forward, especially if people are your allies, especially if people see what you're doing, they enjoy what you're doing, and they want to ally with you, and eventually they want to go off in a direction and do something else. Just, you know, pay it forward. It pays to do that. And also, this is a good one. Don't future fake people who are either your friends or want to collaborate with you. And now, what future faking is it what narcissists do? It's when you make a promise about some vague date in the future, but you're always making that promise and you never get there. And it's not just giant content creators, this is everywhere. This is in politics, this is in corporations, years and years of people future faking, making empty promises that they're never going to fulfill just so they can just string someone along, and then at the end of that string, there's nothing there. They've just been sent on a wild goose chase. And please don't sell a course that's thousands of dollars. It's very gross and it's very disgusting. Maybe a little bit of merch, maybe something at most in the $100 range. Anything above $100, I really wouldn't trust. Uh, and have a mechanism for a two-way street, which is a two-way conversation when it comes to communication. That's why I loved when he opened up the thing to the audience. Any kind of YouTuber who just, it's not just about comments, but opens it up for the audience to come and talk, to have a chat, to be on live with them. That's really great. That shows that you actually really care about engaging with your community other than keeping them as your mindless clout zombies. And I know sometimes it's tough with a lot of people, but do it from time to time and it'll just be more engaging. Also, don't sell out, although all the incentives are pointing you in that direction to sell out, like the letting go of your beliefs or your convictions just because there's a giant dollar amount on the other end for you to do it. And also, remember that new content creators have trouble walking a fine line. Like you have trouble walking a fine line of, will this get me in trouble? Will people keep their attention on this? How do I create something that's succinct? And should I put this video in a routine or should I do something different all the time? New content creators have trouble walking that fine line. So you can just talk about your journey of walking that same line, like the troubles you found along the way and just different things that you experimented things and what worked and didn't work and how much time was wasted on things that didn't work so people don't run into those landmines. Also, how hard is it? Just make someone's dreams come true. If you have that power, but just make sure to not be a douche about it. Like if you have the power to, someone has an idea or a thought out there that can help a lot of people, that can change some things, or it's a way that people aren't thinking and it's a new and upcoming thing and people want to get it out there to help people or anything like that. If it's in your power, why not just make someone's dreams come true? Do something awesome for them, do something cool for them, maybe send them something that they've always wanted. Just yeah. And also, don't have a split personality. Don't be friendly one day and then a douche, the next day. Don't have these split personalities where one day somebody thinks you're serious and you're here to help out and you're being a decent human being, and then the next day you're just like muting people and I don't know, making fun of people and undermining your audience. That's I don't like that. Also, yeah, and destroy harmful myths and rumors in the world. Like I love doing that. That's why that's part of the reason why I created this. Just all these rumors and myths and stereotypes that are BS and they ruin people and people thinking these things, and that's what Andrew Yang did, and that's why I loved him for that too. He like destroyed the rumor that people that just don't have money are lazy and they don't want to work and stuff like that, when other extenuating circumstances can be there that he talked about, like automation and AI. So yeah, do that. Destroy myths and rumors in the world. And I just think that the more interactive you are as a big content creator, the more appreciation that you show for your friends and fans. Especially in these times of like COVID and unemployment and nervousness and people just being afraid and things like that. people love the fact, like when I saw those comments in support of me on that video on the drip, that people have this feeling of feeling validated and vindicated. It's one of the best feelings out there sometimes when you just want somebody to validate your truth or at least to just acknowledge it. And that's actually what led to this awesome video of the avalanche thing. I got fan art, and that's what happened. Yeah, so those are my things for big content creators, and also, I'm not gonna say what the next episode of Ariel the Avalanche is because I've been getting some suggestions to do things on current events. So I don't know if I'm too late for GameStop, and people are talking about NFTs, non fungible tokens. So maybe I'm gonna have a new kind of thing in here, and I'll call it like the current Blizzard, and I'll talk about like the flurry of current events for the day, just a quick maybe 3 to 5 minute thing where I still keep up the intensity and the passion, but I'm talking about a current event. So I'm putting that in motion. But other than that, yeah, that's all I have to say about giant content creators. Not so much of an attack as it is just a list of things that I see that kind of bother me and suggestions that I have to make online places and online platforms more of like a friendly cooperation area rather than like a vicious, crazy area of backstabbing, lying, cheating, undermining, punching down, and all this other, filthy bullcrap that we like to see less of, and well, at least I really don't want to see. Okay. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Avalanche. I will see you on the next episode.
Area the